How's it going, everyone? Quite a lot to talk about in this video in regards to Xbox games coming to PlayStation. I know going back to that initial video that went up, when was it, a couple weeks ago at this point, a lot of people were left disappointed with that video. The pre-recorded video that went live on the Xbox YouTube channel where they announced that 4 titles would be coming to PlayStation or other platforms, I believe, was the exact verbiage that was used, and those titles ended up being Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, you had Grounded, as well as Sea of Thieves. Those were the 4 games that were announced, and I get it that if you're looking at it at the standpoint of, oh, where's Gears, where's Forza, where's Starfield, where's all of these games that have a lot of cachet, that have a lot of notoriety, I could understand how you would be disappointed, but I honestly don't understand how people were expecting something different. I wasn't expecting the big heavy hitters right out the gate, but it does look like those games will ultimately be coming. The issue with announcing all of the heavy hitters right out of the gate was that you were essentially putting the stamp of defeat on the table, and you were like, alright, we're taking the L, we're bringing all the games to PlayStation. You don't want to do that right away. Rather, and not only just to put out that, stamp of we're taking the L, you don't want to do the huge rollout right out the gate. Why would you just shoehorn in an announcement of Halo to PlayStation 5, for example, as a part of a pre-recorded video stream that was just randomly uploaded to YouTube? No, you shouldn't do that, but it looks like more games will be coming to PlayStation 5 as far as first-party Xbox titles. According to a user on Twitter named Silk Knight, Starfield is coming to PlayStation 5 sometime in November or December. He also says that plans are even bigger for 2025, saying well-established IPs are coming to PlayStation. This seems to be a pretty trustworthy source, as they also claim that Ghost of Tsushima would be announced for PC. And lo and behold, Ghost of Tsushima was announced for PC, and they got the date wrong by just the day. They said it would be March 5th, then they adjusted, saying that the announcement would be coming the following day, and it did in fact happen. And this makes all the sense in the world for me. Now, I am very much of the mindset that I don't think Starfield is going to be this gigantic release on PlayStation 5. If the fact is that it's going to be a $70 release, even if you include the Shattered Space expansion, I think the ship has left the station at this point, or whatever the saying is. Like, it is done for Starfield, in the sense that the game came out to an immense amount of hype, and that was it. It had that immense amount of hype at launch. The game didn't resonate at the level I think a lot of people had hoped for it to. It's not gonna have the lasting power of, let's say, an Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, where they've been able to monetize that game for a decade plus. Starfield is just not going to have that, and especially if you're releasing it on PlayStation 5, great, more people can play the game, awesome. That's never a bad thing, but I just don't think it's gonna push these commercial numbers. But at the end of the day, the game coming to PlayStation 5 is something to be happy about, and I think ultimately you're gonna see this happen with games across the board. I don't think it's gonna be an overnight, every game is coming day one. I don't think Avowed is coming day one. I don't think the Indiana Jones game is coming day one, but I think 6 to 9 months down the line, all of those games will be coming to PlayStation 5. 6 months to a year, let's say. I think all of those games will be coming to PlayStation 5. However, I do also think that ultimately we're gonna inch closer and closer to those games, that window of them being an Xbox and PC exclusive, that getting shorter and shorter, and let's say 3 to 5 years from now, games are coming day one. Because let's be real, guys, Indiana Jones comes out, looking at that game, I'm sure it'll do okay as a Game Pass title. I don't think a lot of people are going to be that eager to spend $70 on it, but then if you're talking about creating this extra revenue stream, releasing it on PlayStation 5 6 to 9 months after its initial release at $70, I think that's going to be a no-mas. I just don't think games like that are going to do very well for the long term. I think if you want to make a revenue stream out of your software releases, you're kind of getting out of the console game a little bit. At least a little bit. Not entirely, but at least a little bit you're getting out of the console game. Why not at least drop these games day one on PlayStation as well? I get it that Game Pass, if you guys want to talk about Game Pass coming to PlayStation, guys, it is such a bigger deal than just Sony and Microsoft coming to an agreement. It's not that simple, because if, let's say, Game Pass were to come to PlayStation 5, you now have to start working with the other publishers, and the agreements for these games to be on Game Pass would have to be restructured. Game Pass offers, for example, Persona 3 Reload, the Xbox and PC versions on those platforms. Suddenly, if you were to bring that over to PlayStation 5 and offer Persona 3 Reload on the PlayStation 5 as well, Sega's gonna be losing out on money, and those deals have to be restructured. And I don't think Sony is very much looking to adopt the Game Pass model. I think they've got their subscription service in PlayStation Plus Extra, and it's gonna be what it is. I don't think Game Pass anytime in the near future is gonna be coming to other platforms such as PlayStation 5. And even with the initial slate of releases, I think the initial slate was fine. Those were the games we were expecting. And I'm tired of all of you guys scoffing at the name of Hi-Fi Rush. I can't wait until that game drops on PlayStation 5. I know a lot of you guys have yet to play that game, but suddenly when that game drops on PS5 and a lot of you guys play that game, you're gonna be like, wow, this game is awesome. Wow, I should have been more excited for this game. I get it. It's a new IP. It doesn't have the cachet of a Halo or a Gears of War, and I am very much adamant in believing that those games will ultimately come to PlayStation 5, but it'll be a bigger rollout. Hi-Fi Rush is not going to need the red carpet come out for it. No, it could be a literal stealth release like it was initially back in January 2023. In fact, the PlayStation 5 release of Hi-Fi Rush is getting more of a build-up than the initial Xbox release. How about that? We're getting like a month of build-up into the release of Hi-Fi Rush on Xbox. But when it comes to something like Halo or Gears of War, which I know those are the franchises that people are very much looking forward to one day coming to PlayStation, the idea of Master Chief on PlayStation 5, that needs to be an event. That needs to be celebrated. That's where you roll out the red carpet and you make it a big deal. Not some nonsensical, 12 p.m. upload on YouTube as a part of a business reel, and honestly, a lot of that video came across as a little bit, I don't want to say damage control-y, but they were very much of the mindset nothing's changing with Xbox, not all the games are coming, but once you start pushing it a certain direction, you'll see how it does, and I think pushing it in that direction will continue forth. And then I look at games such as a Halo Infinite, and that's the game I've looked at over and over again, that they need to figure out a way to revitalize Halo as an IP, and Halo is always going to have a little bit of a cachet, but how do you get Halo Infinite to have a bit of a second win? I don't know, drop that game on PlayStation 5. Even if it's just the multiplayer, you drop Halo Infinite on PlayStation 5, it is going to do exceedingly well. At least initially, it'll be up to 343, and the entire team involved with that to maintain the interest and the sustainability of that game. You guys know, with live service games, as I've said over and over again, having a core audience engaged in the game is the name of the game, and that's what you have to focus on. But we'll see how it ultimately turns out. Even if it's a case of worst case scenario, you're gonna have to wait a year for these games to come out. Ultimately, you'll be able to play a lot of these games on PlayStation 5. Indiana Jones, for example, though, like, let's say that game comes out to PlayStation fall of 2025, a year after its initial release on Xbox. Is anybody going to be paying $70 for that? Is anybody going to be paying $70 for Starfield, even if it comes with the expansion for $70? I think if Starfield had a different reception with its initial release, maybe the game would have been a little bit different, and people would have paid $70 even a year after, but I don't think people are going to be running out to spend $70 on Starfield the day it comes out, and I don't think Game Pass is going to be integrated. I'm very confident in saying that, but I do think a lot more Xbox titles are going to get announced for PlayStation. I just think people were being a little bit wild, and I know I talked about the idea of Halo and Gears of War coming to PS5, and yes, I think that's a long-term vision. I think ultimately that will happen. I didn't expect that to be in the initial wave of games. I fully expected the initial wave to be your Hi-Fi Rushes, your Peniments, your Groundeds, and games that, Hi-Fi Rush was never going to be a system seller. Pentiment was never going to be a system seller, and it's not like Microsoft is completely getting out of the console game right away. Maybe in the future they'll be inching further and further away from it, but for now, you don't want to completely pull the rug underneath the Xbox's life cycle. Like, that doesn't make any sense either. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.